And up next, we have my colleagues Jacinta and Cassandra. Jacinta Manitowabi teaches kindergarten over at the junior school. And Miss Cassandra works in the classroom next to me teaching grade 5. And I teach grade 5 as well, so we're teaching partners. Now, let's give them a warm welcome. Come on, kids.
Ani kinawea sasko kiken mena avam on WIKWEMKOONG ni gindre kobenego minage panen gines nabem tago ni higachi mirsha ni abchigon zakton mandani nisnabem wen minage abek ni dozakton ni mandake on enani buing dokin mok das no kontak penoji ek we nasa buijet gat we nisnabe mat mina we zakto mat mandani ke on enani buing Mabaras Cassandra ganad mak mo piwi gigadan ang ganga da bajam ni in the king pi bayang ni meskadayang.
Ani, my name is Cassandra MacDonald. My roots include being French, Acadian, Scottish, and Anishinaabe. My partner is from WIKWEMKOONG, and I live in Rabbit Island. And I am so grateful to Jacinta and Theodore for including me in this project and for the opportunity to learn and be on the land.
Okay, so we're gonna start the presentation going through slides. How do I turn that slide bar off? Okay. So there's so many benefits for the kids being out on the land. Number one being that they are developing gross motor skills that they normally wouldn't develop in the schoolyard. As you know, the terrain in the schoolyard is all flat and it's not very challenging. So taking them out on the land, they are developing different muscles by climbing on trees, but also helping each other, socializing while they are out climbing, developing those muscles that they normally wouldn't be able to develop in the schoolyard. When they are out in nature, they become one with nature. As you can see, they're learning to camouflage themselves up in the under the ground, under the fallen trees. So yeah, they're just having a great time out there. And this one got hung up in a tree in a root. She thought it was the greatest thing ever to get hung up. She just hung there laughing. She's like, "Look, Miss Jessie, I'm hanging." So, you know, this is great for their mental health to be out there. You cannot experience this kind of stuff in the school, in the four walls of the building, or in the schoolyard where everything is so limited. Also, we have one student that was very challenged by climbing. She normally doesn't play like this. When she's out at the marsh, she runs hard. She gives it 100% when she's out there. She wants to keep up with her peers. This one, they do problem solving out there. We were out there one time when it was mild and wet. Their mitts got wet. They were starting to get cold. So I said, I wish I had a dryer to dry your mitts for you. So we came up with this idea to use a stick to dry their mitts over the fire. And what was so amazing for them was that they saw all the water evaporating out of their mitts while they were drying their mitts over the open fire. And they thought that was pretty neat. You can't do that in a classroom. You cannot give those experiences to them in the classroom. Whoopsies. Come on. Here we go. I'll let Cassandra speak to this.
Sure. So the last 2 years I taught kindergarten, and part of my role I felt was to connect our students to the many resources within our school. That included our knowledge keeper, Eric Sinaway, and this was around when the water was starting to flow. And he came out to the marsh with us, and we did had a water ceremony to feast the the water spirits at the marsh, and he taught us about how to make a feast bundle. And I had one student who felt really proud because he was able to deliver that feast bundle to the water. So yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So some of the other things that we've done, this was taken in February, and we took the kids. Brenda's class was with us at the time. I believe, were you in kindergarten or grade 3? Grade 3. So anyway, because it was February, the beginning of the month, we were teaching the kids about some of the names of the months in the language. And because it was February, we took them out to the marsh and did a bear moon celebration. Did the bear. We offered food to the bear, and then we sang a song with Nancy. Nancy sang a song with us. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but maybe. No, we can't hear it, so I'll just stop it there.
Sing it.
So, we don't go out there just to play and have a heyday. We take curriculum out to the marsh. We do literacy at the marsh. So when they get off the bus, we read a story to the kids, and I'm reading a story there, and then we read the book, Stranger in the Woods. And in the story, the kids come across a snowman in the woods. So thank goodness for Uncle Steve, we call him Steve, and all his crew at the lands office with Theodore. They put up a snowman for us, so that when after I read the story, the kids walked into the marsh and they came across a snowman that was very similar to the one that was in the book. So we tried to infuse literacy. We also have Anishinaabe and math. Here, kids are on a scavenger hunt looking for shapes that they're learning about in Anishinaabe. There's also lots of mathematics in their play. Sure.
Yeah. So I found in kindergarten it was a little bit easier for me to help them make the connections in terms of what they were learning, like the curriculum connections, because you're focusing on shapes and numbers and measurement. Yesterday, when we were out there, we were walking back to the bus, and what I could hear is two students saying like, "Oh, that tree's bigger than me," and then going up and standing beside it and measuring themselves, and then finding a smaller tree. "Oh, this one is smaller than me." So there's that type of language that's happening out there. I know now teaching grade 5, I'm having a more of a challenge trying to make the connections to curriculum. So I'm shifting my lens. Yesterday, there was a conversation about, oh, is this a field trip? Yeah, we're not doing any work. And I said, yeah, but we're learning. Not all classrooms have 4 walls. And we are learning math. We are learning literacy through everything that we do. And it's helping them to make the connection that math is not just something you solve on paper. It's about problem solving and making the connections to the seasons and the cycles. And that's all math. And
So when we take the kids to the marsh, there's always an expectation when we get back to the school that they have to do something that was connected, that was related to their trip to the marsh. So this one brought back a nice, beautiful piece of moss, and she got really creative and drew a tree, made a tree out of it, and drew a house beside it, or one of the structures at the marsh. So it's not just a fun day out. Yeah.
like part of the creativity is it being a sensory experience for them. Because in the class, Like, I love our class because it's like a laboratory. We can explore all the things that we're learning out in the world and try new things and practice different skills. But when you're out there, you're smelling all these different kinds of smells. You're seeing different colors and the way that shadows work and light. And you're hearing different things and you're touching things. And we're always tasting things, including different medicines, but like the sap on trees and the spruce pitch. And so that feeds into their creativity because it gives them that sensual experience.
So we never do anything alone. We always collaborate. And I think you may have met some of the people here from the University of Toronto, the University of Guelph. So we also go to the lands office. We do a lot of work there with the lands department. Cassandra, you're up. So in this slide, you just see a picture of the kids being, the University of Guelph is doing a presentation about the animals that they're seeing in the wild, because we don't always get to experience that.
So this picture was from, I think it was like 3 years ago, one of the first trips that we did to the marsh. And I was an EA. Yeah, it must have been 3 years ago. Yeah, I was an EA in Miss Brenda's class. And there's Debit Ba. So I wanted to include that photo because he was out there with us in those initial stages. And there's Nimki Lavalley, who was part of the land-based team at the junior school then and helping to initiate these collaborations with the marsh. I was an EA in Brenda's class at this time, and I think this was the first time that we planted trees. So there's a talk about collaboration. I'm pretty sure the collaboration is with what's that school in Sudbury? Yeah, College Boreal, where they provide the seedlings. And we had these seedlings in our class for an extended period of time. We had to nurture them, bring them outside to harden them off to the elements, water them. So it really teaches them about life, what we need to survive, that they need the things that we need, and also that nurturance and caretaking. And this one I pulled out of the archives and I included it because Mhiingan is in my grade 5 class. And I always, whenever we walk to the marsh, we always stop at this tree and I say, "Auntie, grandmother," and I acknowledge her and we talk about how old she is and get them to think about how long she's been there and what she's seen while she's been there. And I always give her a hug on the way in. This was one of our winter trips with my kindergarten class last year. And part of being out at the marsh too is it includes risk. So in everything we do, there is risk. And it teaches, like here is Rudy out here, and he's talking to them about the ice, the conditions of the ice and what's safe and what isn't safe. And they're looking at the different colors and yeah, we're teaching them how to assess risk while being out on the land, which is really important. Last year, my students were exposed to the turtle habitat protection thing that's at the marsh that protects the eggs from predators. And I was going home one evening and I seen this wounded turtle on the ground and its eggs were on the ground beside it. So I asked Didor, like, do you think it's worth maybe taking the eggs and trying to take care of them overnight and we can transplant them in the turtle habitat? So it was worth a try. We took the eggs and I brought them to my class, and they got to see what the egg looked like briefly. And then Theodore and Glenn brought it to the marsh and put them in the protection and the sanctuary. Yeah. And this was also, I think it was in the spring. So, yeah, I included this picture because it was one of those moments where like they were engaged with the water and you could see things were starting to, how would you say, like, while they were excited about the water play, and next thing you know, several of them were soaked and they were having a blast. So it goes back to that positive mental health and yeah, seeing them happy. Because we can always dry. It's all good to get a little bit wet. So this year, my class, we've been exploring energy, forms of energy in grade 5 science. And so we took our learning to the marsh, and we broke up in groups, and they had a challenge to build a fire. So connecting to prior knowledge from what they've learned with the land-based teams. So what they need for a fire. And their challenge was to build a tripod and boil water, collect cedar, and to make cedar tea. And we were able to connect it to forms of energy within the science curriculum. What's awesome is the collaboration that we have. So I know that this day had a real big impact on our students because they still talk about it and they ask when the bug folks are coming back and when they're going to bring their microscopes and what else can we do with them. And so here, Natasha, Jeremy, and Natasha's sister was there, and they were talking about the recent bug trapping that they did at the Alvar, the bug survey, insect survey, and talking about all the different insects that live at the Alvar. And it was really cool because they were engaged for like the whole 40 minutes of what was being shared. They had all these pinned insects to share with them as well, which they liked. And later when Ogima Amanika came in the class to talk about what kind of resources we would like to see at our school, one of them said a bug lab. So it really had an impact on them, and it nurtures them as like future scientists and shows them, hey, like you can actually do this in your community. Like that can be you taking on that role and responsibility. So I'm super grateful for the collaboration that we have. This was one of our most recent collaborations with the lands department. We were asked to caretake these cedar trees that were to be planted at the marsh as a commemoration of those who attended residential schools and the children who never made it home. So in this photo, we're at lands transplanting the trees. This was an awesome experience because I didn't have to do anything. Natasha here took the lead and she gave everybody a job. And when someone wasn't really engaged, she included them in. And there was like, it just flowed. And they were all super happy and excited to take them back to our class. And again, in this photo, Lachlan is watering our trees. So it teaches them to be nurturing and take care. And also, we had conversations about the importance of planting these trees to not only remember those who went to residential schools and the children that never made it home, but also looking to the future and making that connection to like when you guys are old and you have children and grandchildren, you can take your children there and your grandchildren there and say that I planted them in my grade 5 class. That makes me really emotional. Jeez. Stop. Yeah. Or like when I'm real old in the nursing home, I said, you can come visit me and say, yeah, I brought my children to see those trees. So they'll always be there and it gives them something to look forward to. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Almost got me crying. So we not only collaborate with the University of Guelph and with the Lands and Resources Department, but we also, Cassandra and I have been involved. Elena just joined on with us. We're involved in another research activity with the University of Toronto. So what it is Northern Ontario writing through play. So I mentioned earlier, there's always expectations of when they come back from the marsh, they're expected to produce some kind of work for us. But what we also do is we get them to write about their experiences. Now, kindergartners, they don't have the skills to write letters so that they can write sentences or paragraphs. But what they do is draw pictures about their experiences. And at that level, that's writing for them. So we collaborate with the University of Toronto as well. And not everything takes place at the marsh. We also go to the Lands and Resources office. And here the kids are building bat houses and bird houses that are placed at the marsh. So they are learning to be caretakers of the land. Even the girls are right in there hammering with their heart out, with all their heart and trying to finish their birdhouse or their bat house that they're building. And there's one example of a finished bat house there. So they are learning to be caretakers of the land. And then when they get back to school, they have to draw pictures of their experiences, and they document what it is that they've done. And it just helps consolidate what took place out at the land for them by doing the documentation piece. And this is an example of one of the students that took it to the next stage of his writing, where he drew the birdhouse and then he labeled it bird cage. So he sounded it out. I didn't give him the letters, say, okay, write the letter B, write the letter R. They have to sound it out and stretch the word out, write the letters that they hear to help them with the writing. And of course, there's always fun. Yeah, I think this was a long day and I had to ride back or something. I don't know. I don't remember why I had to ride back. But anyway, that's our presentation. So, does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask either of us? Or were we pretty self-explanatory there? Mark? Oh yeah. Yeah, we don't always take from the land out there, but they do. When we do take, we offer tobacco. Last year we planted a tree out there. We took a tree off the land, a Christmas tree, and we took it to one of the platforms to decorate. So before we cut the tree down, we offered tobacco. Yeah, we always teach them to give back. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, yeah, and kids don't do that today because we are raising digital kids, right? Exactly. Yes, exactly. And that's what we need to do is bring those kids back to the land. It's great for their mental health. Yeah. Yeah. Miigwech. Miigwech. Gabanawea. Yep. Beka, beka, manda na casa.
I did have the opportunity to go out to the marsh yesterday with for the wolf ceremony, and it was very, very evident how these little children respect each other, respect the ground that they're walking on, and especially when you spoke about the nurturing piece there, like there was two sisters, a younger one and an older one, and how she took care of her little sister out there. It was just so nice to see that what they're learning in school from their teachers is, and how they're raised at home is very like a sense of hope. Like we have a hope in our children moving forward. Miigwech.
Yabe na wea ge go wikera. Kai wea? Naha. Miigwech.
So what's coming up next is a health break. I think there's maybe food, snacks. What?
Mentioned that what are they upstairs? The tables.
Okay, also just to mention that downstairs there are exhibition tables. Okay, I think that's the right word. Exhibition tables that you're welcome to visit and ask questions with our collaborators, eh?